Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Colton. We're continuing our conversations in the Lansing School District. Reading is fundamental, and Melanie Baker here with us today to talk about the RIF program in Lansing. And we really have a pretty extensive RIF program, don't we?
It is one of the most extensive ones that's still in existence. Lansing RIF started in the school district in 1975. So we are currently in our 49th year of service to the school district. And during that time, we've expanded out to all schools and all grades. So what started as an elementary program in 2 grades has become a program that reaches kids from preschool through graduation. So each year, the students get to pick 3 books at 3 separate events held in their schools. So yeah, it's a big program, and it's a program that has some staying power in the district.
And when it was small, when you just started, it was a program where kids could come in and get a book and read and maybe share. But that evolution is incredible, isn't it?
We actually have always gone to the school. We go to the students. So we have a huge cadre of volunteers who come to the RIF room, pack up books more than are needed, 2 to 3 times as many books as the enrollment is in the school, and goes to the school where each class comes in one at a time and each student chooses a book.
Tell people why RIF is so important for parents.
RIF is important for parents because not everyone has access to books. And one of our keynotes of what we do in Lansing RIF is the hallmark of choice. And so students get to choose. So rather than having a book assigned to them or said, this is like a vegetable, it's good for you, children get to choose the book that is to their interest. And in many cases, there's limited access to books, even with school libraries and public libraries. Sometimes it's transportation issues. But even in families that do have that, for children to have more access to books is a powerful thing, and it's absolutely no cost to the parents or now to the schools.
So the kids pick the book, they take it home, they can read it whenever they want.
Over and over again.
It's a library. It's a home library.
It's a library without the nasty, sneaky part of having to return the book. In fact, I run into people in the community all the time, and when they hear what I do for a living, most recently, a woman in her probably 50s who said to me, "Oh, I loved RIF. I read Where the Red Fern Grows over and over again, and I still have my RIF books at home." It's that kind of community support and love for the program that has kept us going for 49 years.
Well, you must have the best job in the Lansing School District. Give away books and watch kids be happy.
Even if I am having a bad day, I say to myself, at the end of the day, I am giving books to students, and it is the best job in the Lansing School District. But don't tell anybody.
No, we're telling everybody about the RIF
Exactly.
program. So how did RIF expand? You've attracted a lot of funding from donors. How did that actually occur?
Well, we were and still are affiliated with National Reading is Fundamental. And just to back up with a bit of history, National RIF began in the late 60s when Margaret McNamara, who was the wife of the then Secretary of Defense under President Kennedy, was doing some volunteer work in public schools in Washington, D.C., and was reading to a student. And at the end of their time, the kid looked so wistfully at the book that she had. She said, "Here, take it and keep it." And that's how RIF was born. And then some years later, Dr. Eva Evans wanted that program to happen in the Lansing School District, and with the help of Joanne Trezise, who is a retired school librarian from the district, and several others, RIF began and started reaching out to schools and saying, hey, do you want to do this? And it expanded from there to, yes, everybody gets to do it and at no cost to the schools. To keep it no cost, we solicit donations from the community. And this year in particular has been a huge year for us because the DART Foundation has gifted us with a one-time grant that actually is funding our entire program for the 23-24 school year.
From a gift from the DART Foundation.
From a gift from the DART Foundation. And we receive other grants. We work with a lot of competitive granting, and we have donors who have given to individual donors who have supported us for years and years, and a few fundraisers along the way. And that's what buys the books. The school district gives us the space to do it, provides salary for me, and keeps the wheels running, the machinery working. But the community is helpful with the books, and that's why we're so grateful to the DART Foundation this year.
And Melanie, I would imagine that the books come in at a lot of different levels. So for some young students come in, they're pretty elementary books. They can take them home, and if their second language is English, and they're an English language learner, you're actually helping the entire household to read, aren't you?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. The books are at a lot of different levels, and we have, even because we serve the GSRP programs in the district, the preschool students, some of those little ones are pretty young, so we have even some board type of books like you would share with a baby. And then we go on from there all the way up to young adult novels for the high schoolers.
Why is it important for young students really to master reading and get them interested?
It's the key to everything. I mean, it's the key to success in life. And aside from the learning to read, learning the mechanics of reading, learning that one can read for pleasure, for enjoyment, for further learning. I joke about it that my own education was a lot of reading, looking at encyclopedias and getting down to the bottom of the article where it says, see also. And it was always the see also that led me to something else. And we hope that that happens in RIF as well. I read this author and I'm really interested in this author. Do you have anything else, or do you have anything like that? The kids will say.
And kids are probably so excited they might be trading books like baseball cards or something.
It's a thing. Quite often, especially around third, fourth, fifth grade, we'll get two students in there and they're trying to decide between two different books, and whoever the volunteer is that day, you two, why don't you take that one and you take that one, and then when you're done you can swap. And so that happens a lot. And I have stories as well from Lansing School teachers who were recipients of RIF as they were coming up through school and still have some of their RIF books in their classroom collections.
Isn't that something that a teacher in the Lansing School District would really become interested in education and sharing knowledge by a RIF book?
It really would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something.
Well, so the teachers give you positive feedback. How do you pick the books?
Well, I try to keep up on what's current and trending in children's literature. I read a lot of reviews and a lot of those kinds of things. We also rely heavily both on Scholastic, their FACE, Family and Community Engagement arm, and a couple of other vendors where we get things that we can't get from Scholastic. So we kind of look at that, but we look at what's of general interest, what's our demographic in the school district, where do we place them as far as suggested ages, although we let kids pick the book they want as opposed to saying, no, you can't have that, that's only for kindergartners or whatever it might be. So yeah, we do a lot of research. I have a selection committee in RIF that we do a lot of reading of any new materials that come in, so that we can suggest that to a particular audience or for a particular grade level.
And have RIF books changed over time? Are there more illustrations, or they?
Well, the trend, of course, is to graphic novels, and unfortunately, they're pretty cost prohibitive. But there are lots of different kinds of books, and what we're looking for is a good, solid story that will engage kids and keep them turning pages, and keep them coming back for more.
Well, I think that's what the kids are looking for too.
Yeah.
Melanie Baker, she is the director of the RIF program, Reading is Fundamental, in the Lansing School District. A final word: how do parents make sure their kids are getting a RIF book?
Well, we try to make sure that the parents know when RIF days are happening in their particular schools. Volunteers are really good about that, about getting that out on their Facebook pages for the PTOs, in their announcements, putting up signs, so forth. And quite often it's more of a surprise to the parents than it is to the kids. They come home with a book and say, "Do you have to return this?" "No, it's stamped RIF and I wrote my name in it." And that really is the magic of making a book for ownership, is that moment when the book gets stamped and the child writes their name in. That's when it's their book rather than RIF's book.
Don't miss RIF. Reading is Fundamental in the Lansing School District. I'm Bob Colton. We'll continue our conversations in the Lansing School District.